remember appearing on daytime television shows where he would come on and essentially a sort of terrorist recruiter. He'd come on and be booed by the audience on the Alan Titchmarsh show as if he was the Sheriff of Nottingham in a pantomime of Robin Hood. And that's an example of the media giving platforms to people who never should have received them. And unfortunately, the media, including sadly this parish, has given rather large platforms to at least two of the people that you've just mentioned in the context of the question of how these racist rioters ended up doing the things that they did and believing the things that they did. Mayada possibly more generous than I am when she holds the inciters exclusively responsible for the incitement and not the people who've actually done it, because there's loads of people who've been exposed to very similar influences who wouldn't dream of trying to set fire to a Holiday Inn full of foreigners. It is coming up to 11:45. After the break, we've talked to Saeed Awasi, the former co-chair, of course, of the Conservative Party and someone who has warned often about the possible consequences of the direction of traffic taken by her party in particular and the country in general. And I think that issue of warnings is important because an awful lot of people who have offered invitations to violence, a lot of people who have incited the scenes that we've seen over the last few days will claim that they were warning about it when they were essentially calling for it. Oh, I warned you that this would happen when I said that if we don't start if we don't stop calling racists racist, things are going to get really ugly. Or if we don't start treating Muslims as if they were all second-class citizens or making life for them very, very difficult, then bad things are going to... So these people caused it. These people incited it. These are the Pied Pipers leading the rats that we saw in Rotherham and Tamworth and elsewhere. The only warnings worth listening to, the only warnings worthy of the name, came from the people who explained what would happen if we carried on giving airtime to characters like Farage and Hopkins and Tommy Ten Names. Explained what would happen if we carried on allowing front pages like the Daily Mails and the Daily Expresses and the Daily Telegraphs to go unchecked and unchallenged. So they did it. I think someone's already mentioned Brexit today, but it's a rule on this programme that we have to bring Brexit into everything. But the Daily Mail in particular, Paul Dacre, the editor-in-chief of the Daily Mail, went all in on demonising immigrants just to get Brexit over the line. The last 2 weeks of front pages on the Daily Mail prior to the referendum were absolutely hideous. 1930s Germany and the rest of it. And it's as if they let the genie out of the bottle and now they don't know how to get it back in again. So they're running front pages about the knuckle draggers, but somehow seeking to blame it upon politicians who've been in power for about 3 weeks. Is it 3 weeks? 4 weeks? 14 years of having their own people in Downing Street. Everything kicks off and it's all the fault of the fellow who's only been there for 10 minutes. So these are the people that we're supposed to be comfortable with. If you're saying, I want my country back. These are our people, are they? 30p, Lee? These are your people, are they? And the people in the hotels who've done absolutely nothing wrong, they're the people who've taken over. They're the people who've taken your country from you. Have I got that right? So it's the racist rioters, the pogromists, the people setting fire to hotels. They're the good guys. They're the patriots. And the people inside, because they come from other countries, they're the problem. They're the enemy. I mean, that's the only analysis I can come up with at the moment. And of course, that use of the word illegals became a semantic inevitability when the Tories closed down all the safe routes here from recognised war zones. That little flash of patriotic pride we felt when the Ukrainian refugee scheme unfolded, albeit that most of the heavy lifting and hard work was left to citizens and civilians rather than politicians and government. It was extinguished pretty quickly, wasn't it? So you can only come here now via routes that they have made illegal. So regardless of how bona fide your application may be, you are by definition an illegal immigrant under their syntax, under their language. And then the Rwanda scheme, of course, was designed to deport people who were genuine asylum seekers, whose applications were successful. Their application to come and live in the United Kingdom with their family was successful, and they would have been deported to Rwanda. But hey-ho, good to see British values on display this weekend, wasn't it? Good to see British values back in the box seat.